day I wake, I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Every day I wake, I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Morid. And poor rich kids get their money on phone it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah, we got the good. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We gonna smash it, be prepared to hit the gas, yeah.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
Woo. That's my child.
Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher. Yeah, Sherry know I got from Virginia. Yeah.
I know I'm more because I'm blessed. I know I'm more. I passed the test.
We got to see with the true eyes. We need some brand new bright ideas. We got the hearts and some great minds, yeah. If we could all just be sincere.
Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel.
Try.
Blood eye, and we travel.
That's my child.
Blood eye, and we travel. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, switch the game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the higher, yeah.
Peace to the party. Shahom boy, back again. Hey, shout out to y'all for making it to another Sunday service brought to you by the Autonomous Party Network. We've been building, man. Shout out to all the supporters, all the fam, to the party. We almost at 10,000 subscribers. Couldn't do it without y'all. So tell a friend. Y'all go ahead, hit that like button. You see what the agenda is for today. Today, we're going to be talking about the invention of the red race, building on the Race from History series. All right. But before we get into that, like always, there's an intersectionality between policy, aka politics, and ideology. All right. And a lot of times we are last to the table when it comes to these sort of things. And we're going to start the news off and kind of paint that picture even more. All right. So before we get to this lecture on the red race, right? Let's talk about current day. You know, we always want to talk about keep our ear to the streets and see what's going on. So it's this conversation that's been floating around, right? And it's very important that we talk about it. I put it on my social media first. I wanted to see how the people was going to react. And they did pretty much exactly what I thought they would, right? So check this out. I'm going to play the video, man. It's an African brother. You probably seen him online talk about Black Americans, XYZ. It's not a conversation we ain't new to, right? But I want y'all to hear it. Then we're gonna talk about it, bro. So let's start over there.
Because the continent of Africa is not unified, then we can't have a global unification of the Black diaspora.
But what are you unified around?
That's something we could build. What is the purpose of Pan-Africanism if you're saying that unity isn't possible?
Well, you said it as if I believe in Pan-Africanism. It's the most stupid, bogus thing anybody to even say.
But you spoke about worldview earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if our worldview was to uplift each other?
Whose worldview?
Black people.
Which black people?
All black people.
No, there is no such thing. You can't go to Asia and say all Asian people.
But why not?
I am telling you, this is the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only ones who walk the earth, and as soon as we see a black person at the airport, oh, brother. No, I'm not your brother.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you gone to Europe and you had an Italian man calling a German brother?
Fuck them. What's wrong with me seeing you at the airport?
This is the problem.
You gonna have to explain it to me then.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Let me ask you. Let me tell you something. The story of Chaka the Zulu.
Mm-hmm. Chaka Zulu.
What was he famous for before they killed him? Tormenting fellow black tribes in that region.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the man you're going to unite with?
No.
Okay. I'm just telling you. We think that skin color makes you and me the same. We're not. I am from a small tribe called the Ajat tribe in Benin. Benin is only 6.5 million people with over 40 tribes. When I say tribe, I mean the language is like French and Chinese. I don't have anything in common with the 49 other people in my country. Nothing in common. They speak a different language. They have a different God, a different religion, different food, different forms of wear and culture, traditions and customs. We were forced, carved and say, remain here. He's not my brother. Now you're asking for a global brotherhood of all black people. Why would the black people be different from any continent? Europe is a global community of white people, but they don't go around saying brother and sister. Asia is a community of all yellow Asians in Asia. They don't go around calling each other brother and sister. Same with the Middle East, same with everywhere. Where only when it comes to black people, you think we are all the same. We're not the same.
Hey, so like I say, I put it on my social media first, right? Because I want to get to the common average everyday person, see what they thought. So typically, a lot of people who don't study history or they're not a part of one of the conscious ideologies, they have no problem understanding and hearing that with no emotion tied behind it. But like always, we get the Pan-African supporters. And they come out the woodwork and they say the exact same story every time. They want to go to super ancient times in Africa that they can't even tell you about. It's all mythology. You get what I'm saying? But we always skip the substance and we're not talking about the matter of facts. All right. When you got an African man telling you, and I watched the whole interview. It was about a daily wrap-up crew. Shout out to him. So I watched the whole 2 hours and some, because, this is what I do to be informed. I don't want to be biased, right? And to me, in my personal opinion, man, the dude, his name is Frank, the man from Africa. Really, he destroyed them American men. They really a little weak, to be real, and didn't have a proper grasp of history to refute what he was saying. Because to be fair, the African man, his historical knowledge wasn't that deep either. But he was coming more with common sense points and telling them in Africa, this is what we are taught. We don't believe Pan-Africanism. So obviously he ain't speaking for all Africans, but he's old enough to would have been, if this was a thing that was being taught over there, he would know about it. You feel what I'm saying? So you can't discount what the man is saying as actually being an African. And they down there begging him to say we brothers, and he telling him even in Africa we don't feel that way. You feel me? So it was funny seeing the responses from people, mostly in support of saying, he right. We shouldn't be saying brothers, but then you got these Pan-African, and some of them is just true hardcore Pan-Africans. They ain't never even tried to see if there was a counter argument out there, right? And then you got some who profit off of this. So we're going to get to them in a moment, right? All of this matters to how you get to a point to where you can be erased and then help yourself do it with these ideologies that are tied to policy too. We go make it make sense. So here go another man. So a lot of my viewpoint when it comes to this, I've been able to travel the world, right? So I met people from other countries and get they understanding the history, right? So it's similar to this man right here. So listen to this military brother. Listen to him break this down.
There it is. That probably unique for the audience, but like to this day, I don't call myself African American. I call myself Black American, right? I say I'm Black, but there's a reason for that. Because during that tour, that once we went to Namibia, I remember that the African people, great host, right? They loved the fact that we were there. They wanted to show you everything and show and, you know, really get you out in town. So they had a program set up where, you have these hosts that just take you and give you tours. And so I'm in there, we on the tour, and I kept calling this dude, brother, hey, brother, how's it going, brother? How's it, bro? And he just mid. I'm an American, you're an African. Right. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, man. You're not African. No, you're not an African. You're an American. I'm like, okay. I don't want an international incident around here, man. Because this brother was hot. He went from, 1 to 10 like that. And I'm like, hey, got it. Can I say black? Yeah, I'm black American. He's like, yeah, you black, but you're not an African. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. I'm not African. And I was really like taken back by that because I'm like, hold on, I thought this was, culturally understood across the world. And it's like, no, it is
like,
not.
You never lived here.
You never lived here. Yeah, ancestors maybe, but you do not come from here.
Right.
And so I was still curious about that. So every other stop, or every other person I introduced them, I said, well, how do Africans feel about black Americans that come over here and call themselves African Americans? And to a man, every last one of them said, no, we don't look at y'all as Africans. I said,
Hey, shout out to him. Because I hope y'all heard what they said, bro. So back to back. So we got a man from Africa telling you his viewpoint and why he don't believe in Pan-Africanism. Then you got a black American man who was in the military, went over to Africa, had his own experience over there, basically, where they was telling him he ain't no African either. So some of y'all immediately go to feeling like that's disrespect based on the narrative that we've been told. However, when you study this and you do your genealogy, you track the story, not from an emotional standpoint to what we've been taught, and you'll come to find out that more often than not, they are telling the truth, because the people that they are now calling this new movement foundational, right? The one thing that I've always been in support of with them is they're trying to make a delineation from those from Africa, which they are right to do so, but they don't know how to fully explain their story without Africa. So this is where we come in. That part always made sense to me, but you still got to be able to prove what you're saying. So it ain't disrespect that they dishing out, bro. It's people's firsthand experiences that have actually lived there and are African, and then black Americans who visited there, right? Most of the times when you have black Americans try to go do things in Africa, they get taken advantage of. It's happening to people actually from Africa. But when they leave here, these Americans leave here and go promoting Africa, you don't ever hear nothing else about it in the future. It just quietly disappear, because it's been widely known that they don't view us like that, but we just keep appealing to them because we think with this Pan-African mindset. So everybody else is benefiting off of this except for us. So for those of us who know our genealogy, we know our family story in this land, we look crazy viewing another continent as our destination, right? When the whole time our birthright is here. So then how does that ideology hurt you with policy? So because we worry about Africa and not really helping right here, it's stuff going on and right now homeland that's literally putting us in a position. We in a bad place right now, bro. So look, right now the whole immigration thing, illegal immigration is going crazy in America, right? It's in the news every day. So let me show you the effect on housing. So this coming straight from the White House. This is what they got to say.
Price in the western U.S. now at nearly $630,000. That's more than $500,000 for the Northeast as well. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage is now sitting at roughly 6.2%, as you can see there, 6.19%. Joining me now is U.S. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. Secretary, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And we're talking about housing ahead of the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates, where we are expecting a cut in rates later today. Would you expect a cut in short-term rates by the Fed to trickle to the mortgage market anytime soon?
Yes, ma'am. We are expecting that today, and we're hopeful that the Fed will cut rates and continue to cut them. You saw the president yesterday in Pennsylvania talking about the economy. Maria, you know, as when we came in, our economy was in terrible shape, but just in a very short period of time, under President Trump's leadership, our economy is now thriving. But I believe next year, because of the policies and the working family tax cuts, the largest tax cut for working families in American history, next year, families will see the real benefit of the policies that have been enacted. And at HUD, you know, we've helped over 1 million people so far this year in home ownership, either first-time home buyers or refinancing their home. Over 500,000 first-time home buyers at HUD through our FHA program have now gotten on a path to home ownership. And so as we see this shift coming and this paradigm coming, there's good news on the horizon. Much work yet to be done.
And yet people are still feeling strained about inflation and high prices, and particularly in the housing market. What would be your best recommendation in terms of policy to open up this market to people further?
Well, Maria, let's look at the root of it. You talk about during the Biden administration, the failed immigration policies, and that has really had a tremendous impact on our housing supply and housing affordability. When you have over 12 million people coming over our borders unchecked, unvetted, this is straining our housing market from a supply standpoint, from an affordability standpoint. HUD just put out a report and found that between 2021 and 2024, the foreign-born population in our country in just 3 short years is 6 million people, which is the most in that period of time in American history. And so we cannot forego the thought that because of illegal immigration, because of people coming to our country, prices have risen, supply has been squeezed, but we're working very hard at HUD, along with the president and other leaders in the administration, to bring down the cost and raise the supply when they're doing it through interagencies. But we need the Fed to cut rates. We need to continue to deport illegals that are taking houses from the American people. So we're very intentional and focused about it at HUD and across the administration.
Yeah. And that is the reason that you recently launched this new hotline for Americans to report any potential illegal migrant or criminal living in public housing, right? Your department finding foreign-born residents account for 60% of the growth in rental demand, Secretary?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You just showed that article. I'm glad you did.
Listen to what...
In New York and also in California, there's no coincidence that when you have unfettered access for illegals to come into your city, to come into your state, that you're going to have these problems with illegal immigration. 100% of the cause of rental growth in New York and California is due to illegal aliens coming into our country. But this hotline that you alluded to that we launched at HUD is through our Office of Inspector General. Maria, we care about the people that live in HUD-funded housing, in particular in our public housing authorities. Those families need to feel safe in their homes, safe in the properties that they're renting. And so we understand that it's hard to report things, but we have a vehicle now with our HUD crime hotline for people to report any sex trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal aliens, illicit things going on, nefarious activity. And I want people to understand this is confidential. You can do it without fear, because we want to know what's going on in public housing authorities so we can root out crime, root out illegals, and serve the American people and the American people only.
And you also recently rolled back more Biden-era guidance that you said was favoring Afghan refugees. Tell me about this. How are immigrants impacting the housing market from Afghanistan?
Yes, ma'am. And, I'm glad you brought that up. And, Maria, I know I'm not supposed to do this on TV, but I want to read this so the American people, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, understand what's going on during the Biden administration. Our HUD, Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Office, we have taken down guidance that during the Biden administration encouraged landlords and property owners to forego regularly required credit checks for refugees, so they didn't have to do credit checks. It encouraged landlords and public housing authorities to exempt Afghan refugees from occupancy limits so they can have as many people as they wanted living in HUD-funded housing. Also advise landlords and property owners to evade the fair housing laws, which we're supposed to uphold, evade the fair housing laws by publishing marketing materials in languages other than English so that they could market to Afghan refugees. Wow. That was what's going on during the Biden administration.
Hey, so for those of y'all who've been with us for a while, y'all can vouch for this. And we got the benefit of it's recorded and you can go back and watch the old videos. So I broke down what happened. Do y'all remember when it was in Ohio, one of the towns in Ohio, they was talking about folks getting eaten and all this, something crazy, a crazy story, right? But they was eating animals, right? But it was based around illegal immigrants. And when they did the interviews with some of the local people there, they was like, yeah, even right now with rentals, it was hard for them to get rentals because they kept going to, they kept saying illegal immigrants is what they were saying, right? But they couldn't prove, they just know what they saw. So now fast forward to now, they're saying that they found that this money has been going to foreign-born people. And we've laid down every sector of how this is possible. So everybody can't be lying, bro. If folks visually, if you in any of these major cities, you yourself, I know you see what's going on. So we can't just act like it's not a Hollywood script. This is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So now you got the hood breaking it down. So this is just for the government assistance. This don't even include those who was able to make some money from the illegal immigrants and they doing business in other ways, right? So how does that affect us? Obviously, this is our homeland right now. The average Black American ain't doing good, can't afford rent, having a harder time being able to be rented to, people who relied on this assistance, right? It's even going into smaller cities now. It ain't just the major cities anymore. Whole time you got folks trying to tell us about Africa, trying to tell us about all these other things as if it's an escape from what's going on here. It only get worse, bro. It only get worse. So we need to be paying attention to what's going on here because everybody got these ideologies, but not focused on doing the work here. You feel me? We gotta be real about this and be sensible. So, we do our research. So check it out. I'm gonna go over here to show y'all the report because they do publicize this. It ain't hidden, bro. That's another thing. We got to get to reading the documentation. So y'all see, they called it the worst case housing needs. And they've been putting this report out since the 70s, bro. Okay. So I'm just going to read this forward real quick. So they put everything here. They sourced all their research. This report is based on information from 2023. So the foreword, it says, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is pleased to transmit to the U.S. Congress its 20th report. So the biennial report provides data on and analysis of critical problems facing low-income renting families. It primarily draws, I already said this, from 2023. They've been doing this since 1973. I want to get to the point where, okay, I'm going to start here. I'm going to start during the 2019 to 2021 period, which covered COVID pandemic, increasing household growth, increasing interest rates, limited home ownership, falling incomes and increases in rent led to a sharp increase in cases of worst case needs, aka people who need the assistance. A record high of 8.5 million cases. And then between 2021 and 2023, these cases went to still around a little over 8 million. All right. So one of the key causes, though, of this elevating between 2021 and 2024 is the foreign-born population in the United States. So once again, this ain't no hate speech. But if I care about my own ancestry and the people that actually are from this land, we need to be on our game because it's clear history repeats itself. They can create these new classifications, these new voting blocks, and they can easily overtake another people if they don't have political power or financial power, right? Which we don't have either. We don't got real representation and we don't run any industries. So we really ain't got time to be playing. But I put this report in the chat because anything that these people put out, they gotta publicize it. all right? And we can read it and decipher for ourselves what's going on, combine that with our reality. If you are an intelligent person or just got your eyes open, you can start to formulate what's really happening, all right? So no matter what party you with, you know what I'm saying? You need to know what's going on in the real world. So I seen this video from Deontay Kyle. I think it's the Grits and Eggs podcast, real popular. I'm pretty sure y'all heard of, but this clip came from the show. And I want y'all to hear what he said because, I mean, he breaking it down better than I could on this particular topic. So I want you to hear what he got to say because he's spot on, bro. And if we don't get it together, we headed to a big doomsday. So you got to know your history. And then from that, you got to have some execution behind it to do something about it. So, hey, let's hear what he got to say real quick.
We got a lot of work to do. And what we lost in 40 years, and niggas want to talk about who the real Jews. I don't give a fuck.
I don't really care.
I don't give a fuck about who the real Jews is, nigga. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about the Grand Canyon and how to walk to Africa. I don't give a fuck about the Anunnaki. I don't give a fuck. Who gives a fuck? This ain't no shit I could prove. I could prove them niggas put crack in our neighborhoods. I could prove that this shit has afflicted us. I could prove this shit destroyed our communities. I could prove this shit killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of black men or incarcerated them. I could prove that shit. I could prove there was a lot of mothers left out here to do this shit on their own and had integrated into the corporate world to take care of their fucking kids. I could prove that I had to stay home all day with my motherfucking sisters and being watched by, and a lot of young black girls had to become mothers themselves at a young age. I could prove that shit. Can't prove no fucking Anunnaki. Come on, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. Nigga don't give a fuck about no spaceships, nigga. Nigga don't give a fuck about that shit. Y'all niggas be worried about dumb shit. Cause that shit soothes you because you're trying to detach from the reality. And the reality is, three-letter organizations destroyed your fucking community and left you in the remnants. And you living in the effects of it, and you don't know how to fucking, you don't know how to wrap your mind around that. You don't see a way out. You feel hopeless. Let me look in the motherfucking sky. Man, get that shit up out of here, bruh. I mean, on that bullshit, you ain't gonna save nobody like that. You might as well go back to Jesus. Niggas wanna sit here and talk Jesus all day. We had community when we was in the church. Ain't no fucking community that's looking in the motherfucking sky for no Anunnaki, nigga. Y'all niggas be focused on dumb shit because you detaching from reality. You disassociating. Because the work is hard. Community is hard. Getting back to base and getting back to square one and loving yourself again, starting with loving yourself and then having to love your brother or your sister the way you love yourself, that shit is hard. Opening up a restaurant and not treating your fucking customers like they clientele is hard. When the only times you seen niggas get money is by treating their customers like shit because the niggas is addicted to crack. Do the hard work. It's hard to go to school and learn a trade and learn how to be an electrician. You got to apply your mind, but you was always getting kicked out of school. That's hard. Teacher was always picking on you, putting you out of class. We know those statistics. We know why you don't like going to school. But that's the shit the government required you to do. Go do something for yourself. Find something that you're interested in. Do something with your hands, nigga. Do something with your mind besides destroy. Learn how to build something. All you niggas want to do is destroy shit. And you think that's something to brag about. Nigga, you already living in destruction. You gonna knock down some more? You ain't gonna find out how to start putting the bricks back together? You don't want to see what's underneath that rubble? You just want to keep breaking shit? Then go to prison for 6 months, 6 years, come back up, pack the fuck up, wall your body up, and start telling niggas about the Grand Canyon? Man, I don't want to hear that shit, man. Y'all niggas be addicted to esoteric bullshit. That's how you end up in cults. That shit dumb. Do knowledge that you can really see. Stop letting niggas play with your fucking imagination because they disassociated from reality and they charismatic.
So hey, look. That's what we on the Autonomous Party. We're going to dig into the history because if you want to move forward, you got to understand the playbook. But once we get that understanding, it's time to make moves and make it happen because we still got to survive in this world and we ain't doing no laying down and we ain't folding. So, hey, look, with that being said, we about to get to the lecture, man. We got the Gullah Man Squad coming through, do a little selection, then we're going to get to it. We're going to talk about the invention of the red race. Mac already in the building, getting prepared. So we're going to take it to the Gullah Man Squad. Hey, before I do that, hit the like button if you're coming in. All right. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We about to do what we do. Leave comments, interact. If you got questions, if you super chat them, we guaranteed to get answer. Please, for the sake of everybody else that's here, have the question be on topic to what we talking about so we don't get derailed. You know what I'm saying? And y'all feel free to interact with each other within the chat. The mods gonna hold it down. So hey, look, we going to the Gullah Man Squad. And next we gonna turn it over to Mac. we're going to get on this bill, y'all. So, hey, hold tight. Like I say, hit that like button. Appreciate all the support. We on the road to 10,000. All right? So hold it down.
Yeah. Purpose got a price. Ain't no way around it.
We gotta fund the vision.
Fund the vision.
Run the vision.
Fund the vision. Dreams don't move till the people grounded.
Fund the vision. Fund the vision.
They say love your people, but love needs tools. Power needs resources. That's the first rule. We ain't chasing silver, we chasing solutions. We need capital to break these old institutions.
Break those chains.
Break those chains.
Can't build freedom empty-handed. No, no, no. Every dream needs something landed. Let it grow. Let it grow.
We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
Hope don't grow without a little provision. Money for the mission.
Money for the mission. Hearts stay pure while the grind stay driven.
For the mission.
Money for the mission.
Hope don't grow without a little provision. Money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
We pray hard on Sunday, but Monday's real. Bills hit deeper when you're fighting to heal. If the system is crooked, we still gotta move. Stack for the fam, keep the block improved.
Keep the block improved.
Yeah.
Keep the block improved.
Oh, yeah.
Block improved.
Yes, faith is fire, but the work needs wood. Purpose grows strong when the funding's good. We raise the money
For the generation.
we build the budget.
For the restoration.
We plan together.
No tribe left behind.
We feed the future.
The liberated mind.
We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission.
Freedom takes funding and strategic position. We need money for the mission.
Money for the mission. Every dollar righteous, every plan with wisdom. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. We build for the children. We build for the kingdom. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the mission. Money for the mission.
Keep the vision. Keep the vision. Build the vision.
Money for the mission. Money for the mission. They changed our names, but the truth still lives.
Some say we came from far away. Some say we've always been right here. Two stories at the same doorway, both chasing what our hearts hold dear.
Old maps, new maps, who's to say? We just want the truth that they erase.
Two roads, one people.
Still searching for the name they stole.
Baby, baby, two roads, one people.
Still walking back to what we know.
Oh, we rise together. No matter which path we chose. No, 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 two roads, one people.
Still coming home. different ways to find our feet. One people still searching for the name they stole. Two roads. One people still walking back to what we know. Oh, we rise. No matter which path we chose. Oh, no. Two roads. One people still coming home. Still coming home. We remember. We remember. We remember who we are. They turned our nations into colors, but the truth kept living in our bones. Every step we take uncovers the road that leads us back home. One people still searching for the name they stole. Two roads. One people still walking back to what we know. Oh, we rise. No matter which path we chose. Oh, two roads. One people still coming home. 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 Still coming home.
Check. All right, man. Got a little mass choir. Y'all be on the lookout. But hey, it's time to get to it, man. I see we got Mac in the building. Look like he ready to go ahead and get it started. We got plenty of y'all in the chat. Hey, but hold on. Before we get to Mac, shout out to Nicosia Lifestyle, longtime supporter. We appreciate the mission money for the vision. Definitely much appreciated. All right. So I'm finna go ahead and bring you up, Mac. Let's get to it. Check.
Yo, what they do?
Yes, sir. You sound good. Everything sound good, bro.
Mic check. Shout out to GMC, Gullah Mass Choir.
Mm-hmm.
That was, as always, you hear me? It's always good. Shout out to everybody in the party, though. I always got to start off and say the harsh reality is live life autonomously, you hear? You know, it's your boy Mac 8, the Gullah Mac, Gullah Mass Choir, you hear? Gullah. Shout out all my Maroons outside. First off, you hear me? Shout out to Alt Maroonville. Y'all been sharing a lot. I got to give a shout out to our social media first before we get into the bill. I be seeing the feedback, Facebook, X, obviously on the Monte. We see all that, you know what I mean, on YouTube. So everybody that's been touching in from the Thomas Party to Maroonville, you know, we appreciate, you know what I mean, the interaction and people sharing their knowledge and stuff like that. So I got to give a shout out to all that, you know what I'm saying? And definitely, I'm telling y'all, Patreon, we adding more and more content to it based off these bills we be doing. So if you understand on primary sources and stuff, that's what you're interested in. Definitely, we're gonna be leaving them there. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, you know, real quick, you know what I'm saying? I want to just also address, you know, when we have our guests, you know what I mean? Shout out to Travis last week, you know what I'm saying? Certain people might look at it because, you know, some complexion of his skin.
Yeah.
Obviously, certain things he might say might be sensitive or trigger certain people of our complexion of skin. But if he's covering American history, and that's what we reached out to him to do, we brought him on the platform because he specializes from our position of information that we've researched before we brought him on the platform to do what he's doing. So I don't take a bias to the information that he's dropping. And if you have anything that can debunk it, the best thing is just to debunk it. And then holler at us at media@theautonomousparty.com. And we will get, you know, we will bring you on to have a conversation type shit. You heard?
Correct.
So that's just me being straight up about that. You know what I mean? Up and down. I don't want to get no confusion and nothing else involved. You heard? So some people take things out of context. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think his intentions were that way, because we wouldn't be putting ourselves around people like that. You heard? So from last week though, you know, shit. Listen here. Maranatha, Maranatha. You heard me before I get started. Hey, last week we was dealing with the joint, dealing with already Travis as our guest, but we were dealing with Manifest Destiny, right?
Correct. And the foundation.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny, right? And what is crazy about Manifest Destiny in this time frame, when race theory comes about and the politics behind the intentions of the persons setting up the race theory, you know what I'm saying? And what you showed before I came on with the, you know, homeboy with the news, you know, side of the story of what we do recently and what's going on. Homeboy Frank, the African buddy.
Yeah.
Can't call him even African, as he just said.
Yeah, he is. He's standing on business though, right? He say, right.
I'm not even bringing up the fact that he definitely his nation and tribal and his heritage is from the continent. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
That's it. That's just what it is. And there's no disrespect from anybody from the continent or whatever tribe or nation that they come from.
Supposed to be proud of where you from.
Hmm?
You're supposed to be proud of where you from.
Supposed to be proud of people to have that. You don't even step on business. You hear me? That's where you from. That's your culture. Preserve it. You know what I'm saying? And in this day and time, nobody should be able to not delineate you, or lump you into something that you know you're preserving, that you are delineating based off of your pride of your culture, heritage, and etc. where your region is from. On whatever continent, shout out to everybody from whoever's tapped in, you're from, and you're preserving that. Yeah, even for any race, as they call it today, right? Because we didn't show you what that race thing's about. Bullshit.
Correct.
You know what I'm talking about? Bullshit.
And we willing to talk with you. Like, if you know your history of where your people from, we ain't disrespecting nobody people, but we ain't letting nobody disrespect ours either. It's really just, you feel me? That's the best way to put it.
Right. That whole part. That whole part. You know what I'm talking about? So again, shout out to Gullah Esther Lustian Macario for Kinfolk outside. You heard me? Shout out to the Maroons. But we're gonna get straight to it. Check this out. That's why we ain't got no guests this week. You know, shout out to all the guests and everybody rescheduling for the new year, by the way. I don't want to lose none of these thoughts, because when we get into this, I'm gonna blank out. You know what I'm talking about? So I'd rather just give everybody a shout out now. That's come on the show since we come back and going forward that we already done talked to. You heard me? So let's get to this though. All right, so erased from history. Getting back to the point, I'm gonna start at the fact that when last week we were talking about certain things, and again, all this couldn't get out in detail, so I want to be in detail. You know what I mean? Based off this Manifest Destiny, that's why we did a kind of part 2 of it, like a series in a version of this. Yeah. And red race is going to be what we're going to land on. All right, we're going to land on that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to land on red race, right? That's why it's titled.
We're walking it up.
Yeah, but we always walk things up, right? So in the time frame of King Charles II, you know what I'm saying, and right after that, you know what I'm saying, we were talking about the Puritans. If you've been following our Sunday service joint, and everything kind of we've been doing has been stringed together. If you've been paying attention and been tapping in, you know what I'm saying, and that's you know what I mean. That's just what it is. So we follow it for a reason, because all these things string together before we get to Manifest Destiny that we've been talking about from last week. So Manifest Destiny was constructed. It was not accidental. As it says, it's intentional. You know what I'm saying? And it is tied to, I'm going to say it straight up, and anybody can come and tell us we wrong, you know what I mean? Anglo-Saxons that are in North America, this is their product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the beneficiaries of Manifest Destiny.
They're the beneficiaries of Manifest Destiny. That's the reason why also certain things impact going into later on census records and certain things, anybody not being considered white. And at that time frame, they were excluding other groups of people who today might, pass as white. You know what I'm saying? If you were not Anglo-Saxon, you know what I'm saying? And a part of that nucleus of their Manifest Destiny, you know what I'm saying? So that's why this is important in the manner of what it is, race invention and all that we see people, you know what I mean? I appreciate you. Shout out to you. I appreciate you for tapping in. Come in and do what they doing at this time. That's important. That's important, y'all. I'm not being biased about it. I'm just being real. Like, this time frame is very important. So because a lot of confusion we see today and people debating, you know what I mean, about these things, and they're all debating about race. Mm-hmm. You notice No one debating about nationality.
Nah.
What their nationality is in America, because people even refute that. No, you ain't Choctaw. You African. No, you ain't got no Black European ancestry.
You a Hebrew Israelite.
You Israelite. It's all that back and forth. We see that all the time, and that's why we tell everybody to do their own genealogy. Whatever you find on the tree. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no low hanging fruit on your tree. It's tied to you. You know what I mean? Bury it. You know what I mean? Make sure it's what's. You know what I mean? So, all right, boom. Blackamoor. Last week we were talking about Blackamoor, right? And we brought up this term a while back if you watched the Negro Question series with Lee Cummins, right? And the term Blackamoor, people were like, what it is. So Monte, can you show that? Because I know the last 2 weeks we've talked about, mentioned Blackamoor. But like I said, I'm gonna walk y'all up. That's why we ain't got no guests tonight now. So give me some patience with me now. You heard me? I ain't even looking at it. I'm trying to make sure I get this right first. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to know. Because if you ain't watched past things, even before we took the break and all that, and we came back, these are things that we've showed before. So it's not like what I'm showing right now is our first time showing it. But I want to make sure we show it to you again. I ain't trying to be redundant, but I got to go ahead and show it to you again.
We go Mauryan?
Out of the Scottish Dictionary. I want to set the groundwork for this, going into this red race conversation.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, can you make it bigger for the folks? No, there we go. Yeah. All right, now this dictionary. You see, it's from Scotland. Go back up. Let them see. We don't want them to miss where the dictionary source is coming from. It's coming from out of Scotland. Scots. This is Scotch.
Dictionary of the older Scottish tongue. Up to 1700, which is very important because of the whole time frame we've been spanning a specific time frame in these areas. Because if you say 1875, whole different group of people at that time.
That's not the same situation taking place.
Correct.
They're not the same people that's being when people say Black Europeans.
Yeah.
Meaning what Anglo-Saxons or any other group of people, but we're gonna say Anglo-Saxons, right? England, London, white folk, Black folk living in the same region in this time frame prior to coming into the 13 colonies that we've been walking up from King James VI, going all the way up into King Charles the second time frame, which means this terminology is being used prior to them coming into America, and those who came in and they're being expelled. A lot of them are in a second-class position over there because of things that go back to 1492. You know what I'm saying? Things we told you about tied to Iberia, the Sephard, you know what I mean? Spain, Castile, Aragon, and Portugal. I'm trying to be as detailed, and somebody told me I was talking fast, so I'm gonna try to slow it down. So at the same time, though, Mauryan, you heard? Mauryan, and all the variations, because last week I seen somebody in the chat, they were talking about Moorish. I mean, most of them and most of us that are hear the term, you hear it because of the popular person by the name of Noble Drew Ali that made a lot of people today subscribe to calling themselves Moorish American, right? But they're tied to their creed, and we ain't knocking no creeds tonight, which is tied to Islamism. And I'm just here to let you know that this term Moorish is not just tied to Islamism, you know what I mean? Or even Muslims, based off of English descriptions in their dictionary that I just pulled up, right? I just pulled it up right here. Now you see the time frame, Monte?
Yeah.
So Mauryan, 1509, 1529, 1530, 1559, 1597. All that's before any what we call British 13 colonies were set up in America, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure everybody hear that. Now, you see where it say adjective, it say Moorish, of Moorish race. This is I want to point this out because even the clip you played earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is I want to lead with this first. I mean, we've been talking about this Blackamoor thing and this African thing, right? Most of us who got these surnames, y'all say is white surnames, European surnames, right? It's going to be tied to these group of people right up.
Correct.
got them surnames before they even came into America and had what y'all call Christian surnames, I guess, prior to them coming into the 13 colonies. You know what I'm talking about? That's where that black influence of them surnames come from. They don't come from white people. We'll make sure you see that. It comes with this Blackamoor. See Blackamoor? You see Negro there too, right? Mm-hmm. Now remember, this adjective and this all this dark, you see Swarthy's there too, right? Yep. That's the black European people. When we say black European, this is what the white European, if you want to go play that game, are going to call these people in all the documents that we can find. And I got a lot of them. Just to let y'all know, I got a lot of them. But
notice something else too, Matt.
Go ahead.
You don't see slave here, do you?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Nope, not there. You know what I'm saying? The word Negro is going to be used in context, especially going into certain time periods, because of when we talked about with everybody about King Charles II and how he got with homegirl, Queen Catherine of the House of Borzaga, right? He got that dowry. Most of us don't get dowries no more. You know what I mean? When you get married, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't getting no dowry.
Nah.
I'm just saying. But
not in our culture, boy.
Bullshit. If everybody got a dowry, they got married, people be married right now.
You feel me?
The benefits of being married, Lord knows. However, that would have been beautiful, but we lost that track. We married for love. But anyways, people look at this situation though, and probably don't even understand when they see it in their face right now, and understand the context of why we're giving you a timeline, and it's showing you a timeline. You know what I'm talking about? It's showing you a timeline, and we as we walk up into this red race situation in England, Scotland, Ireland, London, right? Those areas of what we call Europe, this is the terminology tied to the 13 colonies. Even when the Puritans, Pilgrims, Methodists, Episcopal, etc., are using going into the 1700s, prior to the race theory, which means the people that they're describing coming out of that region, this is how they're describing them. Another term, obviously, would be Ethiopian. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's Greek. It's in the Bible. Describing dark skin, swarthy, people they call.
It was the old Moorish, Ethiopian and Moorish. Damn is synonymous, bro. They just swapped it out, different for different time frames. It was the same shit. It was a descriptor.
That part. It is still a descriptor right here, isn't it not?
Yeah, they just updating the lingo.
All right.
Yeah, because this ain't no nouns. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure that's there. I want to make sure that lands right there. So my next joint though, because I want to, that's my Exhibit A. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, shout out, funny. Jenetronica got a song called Exhibit A.
Yeah.
And he got one of his songs. He says, and I can't say it's Exhibit A, but he says, "Return of the Blackamoors with no fez." But however, just wanted to put that out there. My next joint for you is going to be, because of this time frame, I sent you this, so I want you to. It's the last one I sent you. It's the last one I sent you to make it easy. Dele Navigento Ramusio.
Here you go.
Yeah, that one right there. All right. Now I just showed the time frame of 1500s, right? Now, in the same time frame, what are you calling me right now? In the same time frame of the 1520s that we showed you that definition of people who are being described as Blackamoors in that European area, you know what I mean? And how they're coming into America underneath the 13 colony British jurisdiction, right? The people in Spain and their jurisdiction, Verrazano, you know what I mean? Verrazano, what now? Listen, this right here link is tied to Verrazano, you know what I mean? 1523, who came to America on navigations and explored, you know what I mean, the Americas, right? So why I bring this up is because it is. Hold on one second now. Make sure I find the right thing to go with everything. That's why I said I don't want to be in no rush since we ain't got no guests.
Bro, look at this logo. Cold.
You see that French, that's the Saint logo, ain't it?
Fleur-de-lis.
The Fleur-de-lis, right? That's Florentine. The Florentine tied to this. All this is tied to the Florentine term. When you see Florentine, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is all that's tied to that right there. So basically though, this right here is going to come out of something that originally came from out of Verrazano's basically letters to King Francis I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And hold on, here we go. Yeah. So this right here, I'm just gonna show this because unfortunately, I in time and other things we got going on, I didn't get to go in the crate and find the Verrazano joint, but this is still gonna be tied to what they get. They take all this is coming out of Verrazano joint. You know what I mean? So, boom. This joint right here got Saracen in it. By the way, this is not Verrazano's original joint, but in this one, Verrazano is describing indigenous people here in America. He says like, remember, no, he didn't say they were, he said like, meaning describing them that they look like people that would be known to be called Saracens, right? But in his original source, and that's why I had to go make sure, you know what I mean? It's going to say Verrazano description of indigenous people comes from this letter to King Francis I of France, dated 8th July, 1524. The earliest, most authorized witness is celery, and I know that sounds like celery, right? Something you eat, right? So I'm gonna spell this for y'all. Cellery. You know what I'm saying? Codex, right? And in parentheses, it says Morgan Library, MS, MA 776. That's a code if you want to, search for y'all people that be doing doctorates and this, you should know what that means. In this manuscript, Verrazano describes the people as dark complexed and explicitly compares them to Ethiopians. So in his original text, he's using that broad term, and you made a short of it, Monte, how it said going into even 1776, Blumenbach is still using the terms that Verrazano and others as a roundabout, even Columbus, are using to describe the indigenous people they encounter, like Ethiopians, right? Dark skin, burnt face, copper colored, tawny. So that means they could also be described and look like blackamoors. Blackamoors are also being described as swarthy, ruddy. You know what I mean? Negro. You know what I mean? Like, understand complexion. This is both. There's no red race yet, by the way, at this time. If any of these documents, just to make you know, when we talk about this bill tonight, there's no red race theory at all. There's no African race theory at all. At all. It's not there. It's not there.
And just real quick, a lot of times people, they'll see, so you get these sources and you go look at them. Obviously, you got ChatGPT now, so you can get them translated. So you can hear, you know what I'm saying, just a tidbit out there for those of y'all who follow along and do the research and, use the tools available to you.
Like, right now, goddamn it, look up, you know what I'm saying? Verrazano, Giovanni, letter to King Francis I, July 8th, 1524, dealing with that celery, Cellery, codex. You heard me? So you don't gotta believe me. Nah, I done did the work to look. You're gonna have to go look too if you want to get into that detail live on the show. Like, we can't do that right now. You're gonna have to come Clubhouse or somewhere like that, catch us on a more intimate situation. You know what I mean? But you can move. That's the first slide still? Okay, boom. All right. So that's a comparison. I did that because you can see that blackamoor is being used in England, describing people in their region. Queen Elizabeth I is kicking out prior to even King James VI, unifying Scotland and England, as y'all know them today, the 6th and the 1st, and the KJV Bible, you know what I mean? At the same time, though, we got people in other regions, right, that from 1492 tied to Iberia, and they go south, you know what I'm talking about? They do go south, and they're now, in that case, they would be in the jurisdictional range of more the Roman Catholic situation, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I decided to be put out the template of it, because we've been talking about Rome. We've been laying out, you know what I mean? We've been following the Rome when we first came back. Rome's the referee. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay on that. Yeah, I'm going to stay on that. Rome ruled through and renaming legal status. Curse of Rome. That even the Puritans who are using terms like blackamoor, Ethiopian, Jew, or Hebrew at that time. And even describing the people that they came in contact with, indigenous people, as lost tribes of Israel based off of their theology. And they're not with, just like King James VI wasn't with, and Lee Cummins, I think, walked that down for y'all if y'all don't know, with the Roman Catholic situation, who's using the term blackamoor in their region, but underneath the papal bulls in the Roman Catholic side, they're using the term Negro very heavily. And they're distinguishing from the regions of people they're coming amongst that are dark-skinned, that they are putting underneath their jurisdiction, requirement till 1510. That's why the template model is laid out off of that. That's the imperial template. Jews, Moors, blackamoors, or whatever, Saracens, heathens that are not Christians imperially are being forced underneath the jurisdiction of these crowns at this time. Yeah. So that right, we got to make sure that always is landed there, because they're the referee. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no foul on the play with this. Ain't nothing folly about what I'm saying. We can slide to the next joint, because my next, we getting into the timeline. The timeline that we need to get to is around 7 o'clock. So the timeline I want to get to, I just want to show you some things that predate, even as we've been talking about with Manifest Destiny. And these are terms like Saracen, Black or Moor, even Moor or Moorish, even Yahudi, Jew, in any variation of Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic. They're using this term to describe a people. And at this time frame, they're in all sorts of regions. Y'all can get caught. A homeboy said, I'll give a damn about no spaceship. And on that,
hey, I be saying the same thing, boy.
Hey, I gotta say this. The only thing I gotta say is, and we're gonna get to that in the new year, that real Jew thing is a part of this conversation right here. Because of the fact that the Puritans, right, when they came over here, they developed this out of their theology coming out of England, New Israel. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe people don't look at the timeline of what's going on, because we showed you Cromwell, right, Monte? Cromwell is the one.
You walk that down.
That's lifting the edict of the Jews who got kicked out with King Edward I in 1290, right?
Hey.
I make sure y'all see. That's why the real Jew thing is something.
I agree with you on that one. I agree with you on that. And from a layman perspective, the reason why I agree is because it helped explain the Black European coming to America, because that expulsion. So it makes sense to why that part matter. I be joking a lot, but my timeline starts in I care about stuff basically from the late 1300s on. Everything before that, you know me, I don't even, I want to have a baseline surface level understanding, but I'm not finna spend hours of my day researching before then, because it don't help in America at this moment. You know what I'm saying? But the Black Jew, it does. It's part of it.
It's a part of the equation. That is a part of the politics of what's going on the world, and also on our national scale of things, based off even what Frank said, that, hey, you and us, we're not the same. Well, I agree, because in the documents, the people that's being kicked out and that's sent over here and mixed amongst indigenous people, or the people who got kicked out of England in that area, those terms are being called at that time in going into the 1700s that predates the race theory. And even the terms before the race theory comes about, from a racial standpoint, these people are using terms like Moorish. They're using terms like Ethiopian from a racial standpoint. And they're still attributing that those two racial standpoints have a tie to something they call Hebrew. And I ain't talking about Abraham who crossed over. So, Bar Rashon, I'm talking about in a manner of the timeline of what we're talking about is important to focus on, because literally this is where people get lost in the sauce. See what I'm saying? And because we're getting ready to walk you into this when we as we've been doing Manifest Destiny, we walking you into how they erased what people call my nationalities. Oh, my nationalities. So whatever your mixture was, nation and nation mixture within this system, the Anglo-Saxon, I'm gonna give them the credit. They call it white supremacy. Their mythology that came out of their theology tied to the Anglo-Saxon Protestant Puritan Pilgrim foundation that later structured for them to delineate themselves as Anglo-Saxons in North America is going to be the foundation of how others got their nationality swiped, and they shifted they shifted what we call the pseudo. They put the pseudo on top of on the real. I'm gonna keep it like that for their benefit.
Yeah.
That was supremacy at that time. That's what I'm gonna call it. You know what I mean? Because it's pseudoscience. All of it can be debunked in today's time in history, being that we understand when the race theory came about. Because it's not some race theory like we can say, oh, in the 1400s, before they even found out there was a new world, that these European people were calling people Africans and stuff like that, or there was a red race at that time or something like that. None of that stuff was done. So we can slide though, man. Encounter many sovereign nations. You see that. This is tied to what Verrazano,
exactly.
All them things in that time frame is going to be tied to that breakdown of what we dealing with. So hold on real quick. I got something for that real quick.
Yeah, while you load that up, I forgot. So AJ Lee, I showed it earlier, but we ain't shot your house. Appreciate that super chat, bro. You always been showing up, showing love. Much appreciated.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the love. Everybody that's tapped in. You hear me?
Hey, and also while this slide up here, so basically you finna walk them to the red race, but we wanted to be understood that at this time when these explorers are going and writing back what they see, they're not saying everybody looks one way.
No.
I'm still here.
Okay, you good? No, the answer is no. Everybody's being described going before the red race as their nations, tribally. They're being described, though, as far as complexion, especially in east of the Mississippi,
right,
as the terms that we find in historical cases, primarily from like Verrazano, Columbus, you know what I mean? The people we mentioned, even with the Puritans, right? We just did the Puritan joint. We showed you Increased Mathers. You know what I mean? Like, I could name so many people. You know what I mean? His son, Cotton Mathers. You know what I mean? John Locke. We can name so many people within the 13 colonies describing people, and they're not using red racing. We might need to get to where red race is tied to, Monte.
Yep.
So you want 1492 encounter? That's there. You heard me?
Yep.
All right. Make sure that's done. Make sure everybody see it. For we, I want to make sure I don't want to get lost in none of this. All right. You ready to get to this red race thing we done?
Let's do it.
All right, boom. Well, you at the 1500, so you might. I'm just gonna say real quick. You see, red. Oh yeah, this is it. You see where it's do say, red described as paint and ceremony, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when did the red race begin? It's where we're gonna get into 1500s. Remember, we've been showing you things in the 1500s. People being described in different ways from different crowns, right? But the red race thing we ain't found in this time frame. That's why we started in the 1500s to walk you into when the red race is going to be starting to be used. You see what I'm saying? So you won't be like, oh, he just saying that out the blues. You heard? No, that's not what that is. So red race as a racial category did not exist until 1700s, early 1800s. Early explorers, as we mentioned, Puritan, colonial writers, never used the term indigenous peoples were originally described. Originally described as tawny, brown, olive, or even black. You know what I'm saying? It says, but never red. You know what I mean? It says earliest European descriptions, which is showing you here, 1492, going into the 1700s. Columbus, 1492, described indigenous people as black as Ethiopians, like Verrazano did.
Mm-hmm.
The color of the Canary Islanders, meaning the people in the Canary Islands, he described them as looking like Ethiopians in that region at that time. Other explorers used tawny, copper color, because I got to be redundant with this. Y'all should know I'm using the terms found prior to race theory. None used the term red. There was no red race. There's nobody being called red at that time. So before 1700, Europeans classified peoples by either their religion, and that's interesting too, because peoples, meaning out like the Blackamoor, right? The Blackamoor is being described as a Blackamoor but he technically could be a Jew or a Muslim based off his religion. You know what I'm saying? And then that's why they're using terms like Morano for the crypto Jew. That's a black and more. Or if somebody was a Morisco and they're a Muslim, however y'all, Mohammedan, whatever, they would be described as a Morisco. You know what I mean? In their jurisdiction. Little, as some people like to say. However, English, Guinea, and Ethiopian are other terms being, tied to using these terms. Guinean is going to be tied to West Africa, if y'all don't know. Guinean, Negro de Guinea. All right. So none of this is biological. None of this is tied to like your nationality as far as even them using those terms on a broad stroke. You know what I mean? That's why I want to point that out. Now we get into the invention of the red race. You can slide to the next slide, Monte. We got Jesuits, English records confirmed, as you see here on the screen, dealing with painted bodies. And you can go research while we put this on the screen and use the time frame and use what it says, French accounts. Jesuits are tied to the French, by the way. You know what I mean? They're in North America. They're describing people like the Spanish are describing people. You know what I mean? And they're not describing these people as red, but they're acknowledging that these same people that are being described as brown, tawny, olive, swarthy, Ethiopian looking, right? They're going to show that these people in a time of war, they painted their face red. They painted their body red. You know what I mean? They used certain elements that came out of North America to do so at the same time. You heard me? Yeah. Like, what do you want to say, Monte? You want to say?
Oh, nah. You rocking.
All right. So all that has got to be said within this red race theory that also is tied to how people also talk about the African race. You know what I'm saying? Theory. You know what I mean? Because those things are all both tied to a time frame. Don't come about until race theory in general is labeled. You know what I mean? In general. Period. This until Blumenbach. You can slide. I want indigenous politics. You see that red town. Shout out to Seminole. Shout out to Baton Rouge in Louisiana. You know what I mean?
Red sticks.
The red stick. You see that term red stick. And if you research about the Muskogee or what they call the Creek Civil War of 1812, you will notice that there's a division, what they call the civil, between what they call white sticks and red sticks. And that red is tied to the ceremonial thing we're talking about that go back before even the race theories in place of who's siding with who. You heard me? That's why I like maroon, red, burgundy. You know what I'm talking about? Lord knows. Margaritas from Reef. At the same time, James, I'm gonna give you some names. See how that work. Red Man, because when we get to Red Man, remember, matter of fact, I don't want to skip. Let me do it like this. Puritan New Israel Theology. And I've been saying this. See, I've been talking to you before this even come up on the screen. But this is all stuff that we already walk through. We're just trying to make sure you keep up on what we're saying. Because somebody told me I was talking fast. So let me slow down. So in Puritan New Israel Theology, America imagined as covenant land. Meaning this is the 13 colony groups that are coming in with their theologies, mythologies. And what homeboy said, we don't give a damn about all that spaceship shit. But at the same time, it's important for us right now to understand the context of what their theology was and how they described you. If you're going to prove a point going into the red race theory that wasn't even there when these people who are being documented, y'all just had Thanksgiving just a minute ago.
Yep.
So these people in the time frame when we celebrate Thanksgiving weren't calling nobody a red race because that word wasn't even around yet. So that's why people that be sometimes talking about what's happening today in terms being used today, they don't even know that this term don't go back past the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? So this is why things in context got to be used the right way. Just like the word African. Homeboy Frank said earlier, you heard me? Coming out of Africa. You know what I mean? So Lewis Henry Morgan, and these are some names. Matter of fact, slide on, because we don't got to stand on that slide. Let me see if we get to. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, see 1723. I want y'all to sit. We're going to sit right here for a second. All right, so now, boom. As we talked to you last couple weeks, we've been telling you about Blumenbach. Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, right? Johann Friedrich Blumenbach is going to be, I'm giving you markers of time. Blumenbach ain't about until 1775, and it's before the United States of America becomes a nation, to even categorize anybody by what we call today the race theory. See what I'm saying? I want you to put that logic in your mind, because all y'all would say, no matter if you describe yourself as an indigenous person or somebody brought from somewhere else on a slave or an inquisitional, black or more African, whatever, Negro from somewhere else, colored, as they call you later on in this system, after the race theory develops, you were here prior to 1775 in the race theory in North America. There's no way you could debate that, because that's timeline. You say your people were here on slave ships, whatever. That all predates the race theory. So that's why everybody got to get out of this race theory thing, as homeboy Frank said. Like, we ain't the same. We ain't got the same story.
Hey, right here. Colors are political.
Colors. Like the movie back in the day. I'm joking. Yeah, but V. Cooper definitely. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Redskin. Oh, yeah, the Redskin thing is going to be tied to this thing. It's tied to this right here. Yep. You know what I mean? It's definitely tied to this. When the Redskin term is starting to be used, even, it's being tied. That's why when you look at the complexion of what they call the Redskin, that don't match red. You know what I'm talking about? It don't match red. Think about the. Anyways. So again, we're gonna let this early Freemasonry. This is tied to this. This is where we're gonna get deep. You know what I'm talking about? I need about 30 minutes to go ahead and give you this the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna give you the foundation tonight of this race theory, red race, African race, and how it's with the proto, like niggas like to say proto-Hebrew. You know what I'm talking about? Lashon HaKodesh predates what they say is Hebrew. But in this situation, we're dealing with this time frame, and we're gonna bring up the people. You know what I mean? Like how they dug up Cromwell. You know what I'm saying? I'm digging them up. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna show you why this all correlates. So I just wanted to get you to this right here screen before we start. So let me make sure I don't leave nothing out that I feel within that red race part is as we get into it. You know what I mean? Again, origin of red. It was not a skin color. Indigenous groups use red. And the actual thing, you want to research it, it's going to be OCHRE. Type in red and then OCHRE. That's going to be tied to what they made to make the paint. Tied to war, ceremony, and at this time frame when they, you know what I mean, they're banging on folk, and you know what I mean, the red stick, whatever the case might be, that predates even that time frame with red stick being used, by the way. However, I don't want y'all to mix the dope. It says, why the shift happened from the copper, brown, and black indigenous identities distributed, by the way, and disrupted, but also later on, by European racial hierarchy. So they changed the script. If you saw what we said last week, and even the week before that, the Pilgrims and what they did, and what they were calling people and thinking, oh, you Israel, y'all Indians are the lost tribes of Israel. Or, you know, you see, if anybody understand who the Israelites look like, then we wouldn't have a problem understanding when they say they're trying to tell these people they look like Israelites. They couldn't look like no goddamn red race people we think today. If you understand what Saracen look like, then you will also understand that the Saracen will obviously be tied to a Hebrew genealogy tied to that biblical book. I'm just making sure you understand. Ruddy ain't red, but some people say that his cheeks is ruddy, but no, that's not how that works. You got to get your etymology back right. But it's still, we in this time frame. So yeah, Monte. Now that I gave him this, let's settle the ground.
Okay.
Anderson James. Do you have that?
Yep.
Pull him up. Put him to the witness stand.
All right, 1 second. Let's see which one it is. All right, I got it.
Put him in order the way I sent it to. Exactly how I sent that shit. You could do it like that. Make it easy for you.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, Genesis.
The Constitution? Oh, yeah.
No, we're going to start with the Genesis of 1723.
I got it.
Book of Constitution. See, 1723 right there, right? We're gonna start right there because they probably like, damn, when you gonna get to it, man?
Can you see it?
Yeah, y'all see it out there? Let me know y'all see it though. Let me make sure before I go. Y'all see it out there in the chat? All right now. Peak game now.
Yeah, they said it good.
Okay, y'all see it, bet. Make sure we on the same page now. Now look, on my timeline of what I see and what I researched and what I've read and all the politics going on, coming out of this is colonial time, by the way. And this is predates Benjamin Franklin. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna walk you, and this is the person that Benjamin Franklin get it from, y'all. I'm gonna say that again. James Anderson is the root of Benjamin Franklin's observation of mankind in using certain terms within the observations of mankind. Okay, I'm gonna show you why. I know. This man, James Anderson, was put in charge of doing what they call today in masonry, and I ain't hear it, but this is what this says here. This man did. You know what I'm talking about? This get at him. Don't get at me. James Anderson is dealing with what they call new charges. They got old charges, they got new charges, right? But James Anderson is swiping it clean because when we go back to the time frame of the Puritans, Pilgrims, etc., tied to that, England, Scotland, Ireland, those guilds, stonemasonry, crafts, etc., right? And how people will be tied to those skill sets of builders, agriculture, etc. And if you need to get a job, as we would call it, they like labor unions, right? You had to be tied to that system in England and that area of Europe. They were dealing with that kind of system, right?
Had to be plugged in.
Yeah, it's lodges. You know what I'm talking about? We borrowed it. We got it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, in the same situation, because we didn't get lodges out of West Africa.
Nah.
We didn't get Freemasonry out of West Africa. I ain't saying there was no builders. Shout out to Hiram Abiff with the split. But we're not talking about nobody out of North Africa, even though they borrowed from it, right? Obviously, they borrowed from it. Why? Because this man right here, James Anderson, I said, oh, did I say it the wrong way the first time? Did I say Anderson James?
Ain't no telling. Hey, but
Somebody
look though.
called me being dyslexic just now. You know?
Hey, look though, you brought up a point that so you talk about builders, right? And the proof of builders in America, and we can see the influence of builders in America. Like we can see the proof of that, like physically, right?
Yeah.
Not just the systems, but like physical buildings too, right?
Yeah, that part.
So in that interview with Frank and Buddy and them, Frank, the African, said, hey, y'all keep saying Black Americans created all this great stuff, invented all this stuff. He said, how come they don't do it now? And he said this within Africa or in America, just anywhere these Black people are. And it got me to thinking. I was like, hold up, well, there's proof of building happening in America, you know what I'm saying? But in Africa, you know, not so much until colonization, really. So it's clearly a difference in people and cultures and the way that things, you know, came to be. So I just found that when you just mentioned that, you know what I'm saying, we have that heavy proof for the masonry over here, and we can see the physical proof as well as they whole situation within their organization too. You know what I'm saying? So I just found it to be interesting when you brought that up.
Oh, most definitely. So I mean, what I have concrete proof of is that this man right here, James Anderson, and I might have said Anderson James, y'all might want to catch me with that, but it's James Anderson, 1723. He set up this over there in Ireland, Scotland. He's a Presbyterian reverend. He's setting up the new charges, and these new charges are dismissing the old charges, and obviously it's tied to what the Puritans, even prior to 1723, the theology of America being New Israel, or even England itself being from their Protestant theology standpoint, not tied to the Roman Catholic situation, as being New Israel in their theology. But they also, because of the fact that they knew the people who were in a cursed position by Rome at that time frame. We're already like, we know who the real Hebrews is, though. We know that they are described as and being called Blackamoor, Ethiopian. You know what I mean? They even, as they thought in their theology, that the indigenous people, based off complexion and certain things, had to be the lost tribes of Israel in their theology. But in the masonry part, that's where it gets interesting. What are you going to say, Monte? Go ahead.
Oh no, I'll just quote that was a theology, is what I say. I forgot.
I keep saying
my
it
mic
for
was off.
Yeah.
And it's very important because you mentioned Benjamin Franklin, right? Taking on what James Anderson said, right? He took his theology and tried to make it reality. They would build off each other.
Manifest destiny. Now,
all right, go ahead.
Boom. So as we're sitting on the screen, you see James Anderson. This is 1723, right? And y'all can go do your research behind it and tell us we tripping, whatever the case might be, after the fact, right? But you're gonna have to prove that this man ain't do what he did. And I'm talking about in 1723, right? And he's an Anglo-Saxon. He's a Presbyterian reverend. He changed the charges. This is also at this time. This is them connecting themselves. I have to say it like this. This is them connecting themselves in the theology to the genealogy of the Bible. I'll make that sit and marinate.
Yeah, that sizzle.
This is when 1723, when he did this, Anglo-Saxons through that situation are doing something. I would say, hey, but hey, that's what it's saying. You can go ask chat, whatever. This is the period it happens. The shift. This is before when we told you last week, manifest destiny. The shift takes place. It is him. What I'm talking about, it is him. Like Cromwell, we say they dig up Cromwell, but we digging him up because he did this, not me. Not nobody's opinion or theology. He literally did this. Now who borrowed it? But we're gonna show one more source, Monte. Go in order. Show one more source. So we're gonna back it up so we can get to it. See, I need 30 minutes to walk through that right now. Oh yeah.
Put it in chat.
Yeah, throw it to him. We're gonna keep it realer than fishing rods, you heard?
All right.
So this is it. I want to make sure I show you, you know what I mean? So y'all see it, you know what I mean? Even people later on, this is this. You make sure you think I'm playing. Anderson, you know what I mean? James Anderson, James. 1723. All right. Now, keep sliding. I just want to make sure they see it. They get it. They see it. Just keep it moving.
All right.
I already walked through it, doing what he did.
Yeah.
Everybody can come show us something different. Hey. I'm welcome to be corrected on that.
You want the next one?
Yeah, give me the next one.
Oh, damn, I got download it.
Make that bigger, because this is the part that's going to show you something.
I'm going to download it. Hold on.
Yeah, no pressure.
All right. Tell them what it is first. Bring down what it is.
All right, well, obviously, I just told y'all that James Anderson, right? Anderson James, he is going to be the one changing the charges in 1723, tied to London, England, Scotland, Ireland. I mean, they got unified back in the day because of James VI and first, 1605. But at the same time, what we're talking about right now, this is before race theory kicked in, and these are the influential things of the connection. We always talk about Benjamin Franklin and observations of mankind. Why is he using mankind, knowing there's nations of people that he even mentioned are coming in? He know these people are coming in from different jurisdictions. He said we don't like them type of white people. Some people would say them Germanic, right? So he delineated. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, we gonna even read through it. You can give it to them, but slide back up. I want them just to see Fly back up. It said it very at the point. This is the beginning part. Yeah, go see 1734. I want them to see the numbers. You know what I'm talking about? Put numbers on the board. You know what I mean? Because people lie, women lie, men lie. But this number right here in this timeline, don't. You heard me? 1734, and y'all can do y'all math. Let's do the math. James Anderson. Where's his name at? You see his name right there, Monte?
Yeah, right.
See his name, right? Okay. So in 1723, he's over across the seas. He's not in America. He ain't come to America. James Anderson never came to America. Make sure you understand that. But Benjamin Franklin took the exact, you see the names, right? He took the exact new charges from this man right here, James Anderson. You heard me? Yep. I want y'all to make that, let it marinate. It's the exact change. Now, 1734, where's he located at? He's in Pennsylvania, right? What do we get to next, Monte? Because now Benjamin Franklin is borrowing and publishing James Anderson's work. And then Benjamin Franklin now, 11 years later, from 1723, is in Philadelphia putting out, and he's the Grand Master.
Right. He puts out the observation.
In Philadelphia, right. So going from 1734 to 1752, Benjamin Franklin, 18 years. I'm doing the math for y'all. Do the math real quick. 18 years. We're here now. 1751, 1752. Him using these terms like sons of Africa. We always talk about the sons of Africa, right? Just like how we just debunked that. Frank said it. We showed you they're not even using them terms before the race theory come about. So if you talk about your people were slaves and they were called Africans, you lying. Gotta find another term to use.
Mm-hmm.
Based off the timeline of what happened. Even if your people came out to Guinea, and you say, oh, your people Guinea, then say Guinea. But however the case might be. Can you search on here and find red race? Can we find it?
No, not by. Let me see. If I try this. Nah.
Exactly. No, that was something I wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping when I sent it to you. Now he got Sons of Africa, right? But
oh yeah.
Watch this.
Right here.
Okay, making sure. See, it's hard to find in that bit. Look, I want to make sure y'all see now. We live, right? Sons of Africa, right there though. It's right there. Easy, right?
Yep.
This is the first time going back to Black Immortal and all that. We see easily that Sons of Africa pops up and he's using this term. He, as the Grand Master, is one of the first people we can find outside of King Charles II using the term Royal African Company.
Yeah.
Because this is before there's a Prince Hall Lodge or African Lodge. This is before it. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'll make sure y'all know I ain't tripping off timeline. I'm keeping it 100 on the timeline now. Listen now. So there is no red race at this time. And they're just now developing at this time saying and calling and using the phrase Sons of Africa because of the Grand Master of Philadelphia. You heard me?
Yep.
Now calling people mankind and not by their nationality. You know what I'm saying? In mankind terminologies, he's not recognizing their nationality because they're coming into his jurisdiction. That's how he's looking at it. Like these mankind, different people, they're going to have to be subject to what we doing because they ain't going to change shit when we read what he's talking about inside the whole observation, right? Is that what, Monte, we've been saying? Or am I tripping anybody in the chat that's read this document in totality?
Nope. So we laying down right now. Still at this point, when he did the observations of mankind, he was sure to point out how everybody looking swarthy, even in America and all the other places, but no mention of a red race.
Now, what what people got to see here is, as we just walk this into this time frame, Sons of Africa is being used, and red race is still not like a big term being used yet, because it's 1752. Remember, Blumenbach don't hit until 1775. I'm gonna do math for y'all tonight. When the observations of mankind was done in 1752, let's do the math. That's gonna be 24 years. Oh, excuse me, 23 years. 72 to 1752 plus 23 is going to give us 1775. See what I'm saying? So we got 23 years, and Benjamin Franklin is living the whole time. He alive.
Hey, so Kofi just sent something right here, right? Highlight this portion. So basically, the part where it's saying, you know, it say the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies of increasing the lovely white and red.
Oh, wait a minute. White and red?
White and red. So this could be taken multiple ways.
Red,
yeah, so he could be saying, and he put a question mark after it.
Oh, Lord.
So that could mean a whole bunch of things. But to be fair, this could be a reference to the red race.
Well, I would say that's what I was looking for, but it didn't say red race. See, I knew red's there, but I know it don't say red race, like how, you know, it don't say African race. Even then, he's saying sons of Africa. He's not saying
Africans.
You know what I mean? He's telling you that these people somehow descend from his mankind ideal and his proto for what he's doing, and how they're now just disconnecting, by the way, what the Puritans theology, Curse of Rome theology, because it was originally Curse of Rome, but then they had to change it from Curse of Rome to this Sons of Africa theology, because they had to get a base in their mind on how even if your people became Christians from the time frame of the Inquisition going back to 1492, that even now in North America, you being a Christian was going to be good enough for you to be equal to the Anglo-Saxon dealing with manifest destiny. And the only way they can go about doing that is saying that even if your people baptized, just like how they told you, based off what we showed you, what Spain put out, Portugal put out, Limpiza de Sangre. You know what I'm saying, Monte? See how that all work out? One drop rule. You got one drop, and you gonna be a Christian. You still ain't gonna be on equal to me, Anglo-Saxon in his mind state at that time. Benjamin Franklin, Grand Master of Philadelphia.
Yep.
James Anderson over there saying, hey, we got to rewrite the charges. And I'm not a Mason, by the way. But that's the history of what it says. That's just what it is. So some people, when we research and we find, because this is all before race theories in place, everything that we're talking about right now, all these events and all these people historically, and what they're doing at their time and they're putting in positions, there's no race theory yet.
Yep.
So red race, right? That's just now. Because we already told you about the paint. You know what I'm talking about? You got black folk in neighborhoods right now, got the red handkerchief hanging out. You going to describe them as red based off their complexion because they rock red? No, you're not. Hold on, man. Because we done got to this point, red ocean. So, you know, what happens is, though, Benjamin Franklin is seeing their expansion efforts and this proto-ideal of what they're doing. And he is seeing that what's already in what we call, because remember, 1752, they don't have the Northwest Ordinance yet. They don't have really full, even ideal of how to expand west of the Mississippi yet. Monte, right? Am I right? You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Say it again.
In 1752, Benjamin Franklin and them are not expanding west into what we would call today at that time Mexico, west of the Mississippi.
Hell no, they still trying to get their situation straight.
Right. And but the people that are in this region, funny enough, that are the ones that later on become known to be called the red race, is tied to this right here. See what I'm saying? In that neutral area, Louisiana Purchase, that not only when most people in the South, they think about their region, but remember, that shit went all the way up north, right?
Yep.
All right. So you got this region that's the colonial. There's the expansion, but it's not called the Northwest Ordinance. It's just the time frame of colonial expansion, but they're not really still in the thick of what they call Mexico, right? Because Louisiana and all the areas tied to the French, you know what I mean? When Louisiana Purchase, that's tied to the French, they say, as far as they deals being made, you know what I'm saying? Not even talking about the groups of people that are in that stretch of land tied to that purchase. You heard me? So from whatever the case might be happening in the ethnogenesis going into this time frame. So I'm only sticking to the fact that we know for a fact that the red race situation is like the African race situation. It's not there, just like until you get to Blumenbach. See what I'm saying? And for some reason, I mean, you're gonna have to see us in the season, you know what I mean, about this one, because that's one to lay the groundwork out. And y'all come back and get on our feed and tell us if this right here ain't solid. You know what I'm talking about? Because this is the foundation before we can even debate with anybody about now what groups of people were here. Because I'm already gonna tell y'all, the people that's being called red race, most of the information is tied to Mexico. You heard, Montana? Yep. And Canada, even. Some places in South America. But the dark-skinned indigenous people, aboriginal people, because of the time period going into 1752, they're being lumped into something based off the shift. Because the red race has never been compared to being called lost tribes of Israel. Y'all keep that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the new charges don't affect them no matter what. They're being called terms like infidels and heathens in Mexico. Indio, the indigenous people of Mexico, they call it, are being called heathens and infidels, yes. And they also later on become known as red. Not copper colored, but red. But see, who was here first before 1492? I'm going to say that red, and today we call black, indigenous groups of people, were here already before 1492. You know what I mean? Because the murals that we see, and everybody be showing the murals on Facebook and different things of people fighting each other. It'd be like, wait a second. Y'all, 1 minute y'all saying that the European did it, but then you got murals showing dark-skinned people fighting red skin, as you would call it today, people, prior to 1492 here in America. Which one is it? You know what I'm saying? So now who came first at going back before 1492 and why they were warned? That ain't got nothing to do with the ethnogenesis of where we at, like how you said earlier, what Homeboy said. That's that spaceship. Oh,
yeah, we can't figure out year one where everybody was at. It's impossible.
Yeah, I'm trying to prove that we were the original, and there was nobody else here but us isolated before. This white man who you don't even understand is a racial term, don't even fit like how our guest last week said. I'm not. Yeah. All our people don't describe ourselves as Caucasian. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess this is a good time to do our disclaimer, because I know a lot of people was probably watching this in anticipation that we was gonna be dissing the what they would call the West Coast Indians. This ain't that. This is just showing matter-of-factly how this came to be, and basically that phenotype became what they wanted to call the only image of what a so-called Indian was supposed to be. So that's what the purpose of this is, and showing you how that race was created.
Right. Now, in the race situation, and going into this time frame, and that's where Blumenbach comes into play to use this term red in his politics as a Germanic man. And that's also going to be tied to something in anthropology that I'm going to say is impacted by a person going back to James and Anderson. But in that development, because that's proto-race. They're using their theory, because remember I told y'all, they're using the term Ethiopian as a race. Even so that's why made them say, we're going to say that these indigenous people of the Indies, you know what I mean, are, even though they dark skinned like the people that we already enslaved over here or persecuted over here, because of their complexion, we automatically going to lump into the category that they lost and that they need to be saved. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about? That's the political, you know what I mean? That's the gameplay. You know what I mean? You should read between the lines. You know what I'm saying? Or what they said. And all the documents are there. What I'm saying, I ain't reading between the lines. I read the lines directly what they did. You know what I mean? Because now I'm gonna follow up real quick because I said and I want to get all that out. What you think so far, Monte? Before I even say anything else, so far where we at?
Now we walking up. It's time to go ahead and cement. We can see the why. We can see the creation. Now it's time to cement the American side of thing when it really, because we Benjamin Franklin. We see the ideology. We see what the play is, and basically it looked like everything is being framed up, and they're in an agreement on how they want to move prior to the Revolutionary War, which makes sense to me. Because now here they on one accord, and they like, hey, we about to go with our move.
Manifest destiny. They about to break away from the British and break away and set their own standard with what became known today as United States of America.
Yeah.
And they set the standard that the Anglo-Saxon would be at the top based off manifest destiny, and that any other group based off of what was going on prior to race theory and all the things that they were doing, you know what I'm saying, that they would be able to be on top. That's white supremacy, what they call white supremacy. But still, we now amongst each other and who have heritage going into this time frame need to know that there's 3 different groups of colored folk in North America at this time. You got the Blackamoor, who's coming out of Europe, and their ways of coming into North America. You got and I'm talking about that's going to include France. You know what I'm saying? That's going to include
all of Europe.
Anything in Europe of people being described in this way are coming in from those regions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, there's people in West Africa later in America that could be called the same term by English people. But the Guinea people, Negro de Guinea, is definitely tied to West African people that the Royal African Company is showing they had a monopoly of coming tied to Portugal that be walked down. And then the indigenous people who are tied to, shout out to the Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the mound building culture, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the east of the Mississippi areas that we know that people being described by people like Jacques Carter, 1530s, using the term swarthy and brown. Verrazano, as we just showed you earlier, 1524, liking some peoples to Saracens, Moors, obviously Ethiopian. John Smith, that's going to be tied to the English, 1600s, tawny, brown, and sometimes olive. We're not finding no red race. We're not finding the examples of what later on took place that people argue about dealing with this African that some people got lumped into later on, you know what I mean, based off caste systems, and how those people now, especially those who were in Mexico up until 1850s or something, you know what I'm saying? And now they're being lumped in because they weren't forced. There's no, if you notice, there's nobody in Mexico that the British or the Puritans or the Presbyterians or the Methodists or certain things, besides James Moore, by the way, that goes out west amongst what they were calling infidels and heathens tied to indigenous people of Mexico based off manifest destiny and the time frame of their expansion efforts that obviously led to the treaty between the American-Mexican War, the Treaty of Hidalgo, right? Yeah. So all that, and I'm giving you the name of the treaties, and that's when things get lumped in. And I'm going to say some of the red folk, and we know because some of them became, Masons themselves, right? They got a lodge. They got down. But some of them didn't either, right? And just like the dark-skinned side of indigenous people who mixed in with these other groups of people over time, going in these time frames, and that's how some of them are why they might be called civilized, right? But then the other ones are like, we're being marooned or, exiled on our own land for not cooperating with this new shift tied to their manifest destiny and the categories that now they want to label us by that most people debate about today dealing with race theory. So red race and all that stuff, again, African race, these are new theories. You know what I mean? Anybody in the chat, what y'all think? What you think, Monte, before we close out on our own? Because I think is that concrete? I gotta go more. You want some more?
Nah, so I got something for you that really just and crazy part is you already brought this up before, but it correlates to now. So I'm gonna break it down for him real quick.
Yeah, because they say I talk fast, so sum it up for him, Monte.
Yeah, so this real simple. So now Mac done broke down the creation of the red race. All right, so we know it's a thing. We know that the reason we gotta talk about the reason why now. All right, so they knew that in order to expand for the manifest destiny, they was gonna have to be able to work out some deal with the Indians and figure out because they knew eventually they was gonna outgrow the 13 colonies, right? So what was going to be the plan after that? They knew that was going to involve some type of Indian participation. However, they can't afford to cash out for all this land. It was going to be impossible for them to do that. And obviously, before they can even get to the West Coast Indians, they had to be able to talk to the ones in the South, the East, and the Midwest to be able to, common sense, right? To travel that way. With no airplanes at this time. They was going to have to go right through the heart of this motherfucker if they was going to get over there. And then in order to grow America, they needed the agriculture from the South. Okay, so all of this was strategic. So they had to get the South first to be able to grow the empire to even go to the West. Okay, so this is why they made one phenotype of indigenous people. They wanted to control this. They control who's indigenous, then they can control who is in control of these land, the treaty rights now, all of this. This is why everything... The War Department, which ended up turning into the BIA, was all starting to happen after you done laid this out in the 1700s, right, man? Everything get set up in the 1700s. They fight for the independence, and then next thing you know, deals and treaties is made for this land. While at the same time, creation of this red race to be able to the mound builders and anybody who was not attributed to this red race was basically wiped out. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it to your boy, Matt.
Who you got?
Your boy Edward Curtis.
Uh-oh.
So you remember about your boy Edward Curtis, right?
Yeah.
So in order for the red race, that was the final straw for manifest destiny to be activated.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now they had the idea for expansion. It came from James Anderson, then Benjamin Franklin. So they made it like a morality issue. We looking out for our own kind type shit. That's how they made it sound good marketing strategy. But then now they had to have a way to be able to control who they said was going to be indigenous now because of this red race. So here come the BIA. What you got?
Nah, keep cooking. Keep
yeah.
going.
So they come with the BIA, right? Everybody in this crowd, we know about the BIA, but a lot of people haven't been paying attention to our boy, Curtis. So let's tell them about that boy, Curtis, real quick. And I'm going to put this link in the chat after we go.
Oh, that's the joint I sent you, right?
From before, yeah.
All right,
so,
I'm glad you reminded me, see?
Because that's important, because Edward Curtis, all right, the North American Indian. So basically, he was a photographer. Okay, so I'm gonna read it.
I remember.
All right, so Edward Curtis and J.P. Morgan. All right.
Yeah.
You see what I meant with it, bro? All right, so I'm gonna read it real quick.
Why you bringing them up? Okay, go ahead. Give it to him.
So after building a successful career as a studio photographer in Seattle, Edward Curtis embarked on his large-scale project, The North American Indian, published between 1907 and 1930. Each of the 20 illustrated volumes was accompanied by a portfolio of large format photographs. This series intended to document the traditional culture of every Native American tribe west of the Mississippi, working with 80 different indigenous communities and alongside a constantly rotating field team of ethnologists and Native American assistants. Curtis collected ethnological data and made thousands of photographs, motion pictures, and wax cylinder recordings. All right. So J.P. Morgan is who funded him. Okay. Approved through the BIA. And the images that he took was the ones that was used to say who's an Indian or not and further the red race. Right. So this is how they became marketed to be known. And this is some of the pictures. All right, I'm gonna get one where it's an actual some people in there. But you can see where this at. Definitely west of the Mississippi, just like they said, right? So this became all indigenous culture all over America was attributed through this man's work.
Yep. Exactly.
Edward Curtis.
Edward Curtis. I remember him, but now you said like how you brought it in with that right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it makes sense. This is how they was able to create the marketing strategy. You feel me?
The alley-oop for us to show now, based off Manifest Destiny, that this is the new ideal. What we want people to think is the red race, and this is actually who some of these people who are Anglo-Saxon mixed with.
Correct.
So when you hear people using certain situations, they're tying themselves to actually those people. You know what I mean? Not our people, technically, based off of our indigenous mixtures and shit. You know what I mean? Because our indigenous mixtures already were being casted into this category that they needed to come up with that led to the reason that even after the American-Mexican War, Monte, right? When they take these pictures of these people, wasn't last time I checked, we the last one that's warring with America.
Yep.
The Gullah Seminole Wars.
Yep.
Right? We go after the fact if we look at the East Coast, Southeast, things that took place tied to Seminole, Cimarron, Maroon, Gullah, Geechee, and all the indigenous people of the region, along with etc. You know what I mean? Things that were happening. Red too, that came down into that region, trying to get away from what was happening, because that was the last stronghold, as they know, going into what they call the Civil War. 1865. Yeah, that's the last joint. So within that context, they didn't have, and obviously any removal, all that stuff is happening prior to them going into Mexico. Actually, when Oklahoma would be what, west of Mississippi? Isn't they telling them to go west of the Mississippi?
Yep.
Oh, in the expansion area.
So where they already control.
Become the buffer zone. Be the buffer zone for us expanding into this region that we call Mexico. You know what I'm saying?
This is also how they were sending
the red races. You know what I'm saying? Later on.
Of the red race to the south to be a part of these new federal recognized tribes too.
Could you work with the system in their manifest destiny?
Correct. So when we say our own people, let's be clear. We didn't say that there's people that look like us working for the man, whoever you want to call it. We said there's white people working for them. There's also those of the red race working with them too. It ain't no one so-called race that's a part of this governing system, bro.
Woo! Give me my last one, bro.
I got you.
Give me my last one, bro. We're going to close out. Anybody, shout out to everybody in the chat live with us.
All right. You can see?
Mm-hmm. Redskin. Somebody earlier said Redskin, you know. Oh, man. Yeah, but I ain't going to correlate to what we're talking about right now with the red race. They ain't do that for that reason. The Rothschilds did that for a whole nother reason. That's a whole nother discussion. But when we say red race, we're talking about strictly people today that debate about what the ethnic ideal of what American Indians supposed to look like. And Manifest Destiny structured that identity, being that we know we're not excluding that there are not people here in today what we call the Americas of Canada, Mexico, South America, etc. But people think still in their mind when they hear this word American Indian is a ethnic racial thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's not. So, but we give you the structure who took advantage of that, and it benefited them, going off their Manifest Destiny time frame, what they did. So this right here, make it a little bit bigger, man. Please, if you don't mind. Anybody, my eyes ain't gonna lie. Oh, I gotta go to it on my screen, I will. But if you can make it, and we all can matter of fact, no, I'm gonna have to. I need glasses, y'all. New Year, I'm getting glasses. I'm gonna have to get some glasses.
Yeah, it's gonna be the biggest on mine.
Oh, that's good. That's good right there, though. My eyes ain't that bad. All right, so the debate over appropriateness of Native American team names rages on. Whatever the priority of generic Native American team names like Indians, Chiefs, Braves, or Warriors, or tribal names like Utes, Chippeways, or Seminoles, there seems to be a widespread belief that the term Redskins is especially offensive and insulting to Native Americans. How this perception came about is somewhat puzzling, as it appears to be a relatively recent origin. There is little evidence that the perception of redskin, inherently offensive term for Native American, existed before the late 1970s, or early 1980s. Traditionally, the word redskin was viewed as a synonym for Indian or Native American and did not carry the sort of negative connotations that have long attached to ethnic slurs like chink, wetback, keek. I didn't even use that term in my life. That K-I-K.
Kike.
I know I never used it though. I never used this term. I don't know whoever uses it, but I haven't. And you see that word nigga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nigga. So it's showing you. We even see people say all the time, the Indian is a nigga. I've seen documents. The Indian is a nigga. You see what I'm saying, Monte? You hear how it is? But look, the Mexicans are getting called wetbacks, that word and this word nigga too. But it's gonna be when, even though they're obviously still the ones being called what? The red race. See what I'm saying? So people gotta put in context that is at this point in history of manifest destiny amongst Anglo-Saxons that are using it in a negative way, or obviously using it and also putting these other terms, slurs with it. But they're not technically the original Negro. You know what I'm saying? They're not the origin of the people that fit this term that was used derogatory for. But at this point, anybody can get it based off manifest destiny. You heard me?
Yep.
Sports writers covering teams like Indian nicknames during the first 3 quarters of the 20th century routinely substituted Redskins for Indians or Braves in search of variety, and they apparently did so without being aware that this alternative word choice was more offensive than the original. Slide up that. I mean, Monte, look, shout out to God Green.
Yeah, he said to me, everybody,
All right. Yeah, see, I wanted you to, look. Although the name Redskin was earlier used by Muskogee, Oklahoma, and you know the Muskogee are tied to the creek, right? And you know the Muskogee being tied to the creek, and they had the Creek Civil War, you had a red stick side and a white stick side. What you think the white stick side, who sided with America at that time, and the red stick side, who were being either neutral or even sided with the British, like the Coops saying them, that they were now be looked at in a derogatory way. And this word Seminole started to be used amongst those people. Even if they were black, or what we call today the red, in this region dealing with what's going on at the time. This is why a lot of these things, you know what I mean, shout out to Dr. Dixon. We got him coming in town in February. We locking it down. Shout out to Little Feather too, locally, that, you know what I mean, tapped in. We making some things so we can make things happen in our community too. If y'all want to come to town, that could be Maroonville weekend. You heard me? So I want to make sure I plug that in real quick. Now, the name change was also consistent with team owner George Preston. You see that right there? Look at this last paragraph, right? You know, how they're using this term collegiately, and how now it becomes what you would think, because of the institutions and the sporting and everything involved, that this would have to be what the phenotype of what the red race and what the red race comes from. But then you go and research any of those tribal groups of people that are also being called red race, American Indians, their origin stories don't even come from the same situation.
Yep.
So delineation, just like how, so hey, how Frank said it, we're gonna land on this. When Frank earlier, you were talking about from out of Africa, Monte, right?
Yep.
And he said that, oh, the Africans, we got tribes and we ain't all even on the same page, and we banging on each other and different things like that, right? So ain't no pan on the continent. They like ain't no pan, but we on our tribe, like how the niggas gang bang over here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They got their territories, and this is what they're dealing with. It's like how somebody from where I'm from, I can't come to where you from and tell you your people in your area what to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's gonna be a problem.
Even within the state, Jacksonville ain't the
can't-
same as Orlando,
Right,
and Orlando ain't the same as Miami.
Come on now, you can't even go that far. Exactly. I'm just using examples. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people just on a state level. You know what I'm talking about? See, I'm going off state level because even that, like you said, even that. So, because Orlando people might not get along with Miami people in certain cases, Duval, etc. Shout out to Florida 954. You heard me? Button 305-561. South Florida. We different from Jacksonville and other areas. We do things different. You know what I mean? Just like in Georgia, Atlanta, and Macon ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like people got to understand territory. So Africans don't have nationalities, and within that national jurisdiction, like how Frank was talking about, they got their own things they dealing with. They're not on no Pan-African, everybody, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the red race as they've been lumped in together as the red race. They don't all even get along, and they ain't got the all same origin story. They ain't even rocking with each other like that, outside of the fact that BIA today got them federally in a situation called Title 25. And I'm glad I'm not Title 25. When I land there. What you got to say, man, before we slide? Everybody in the chat, thank y'all for pulling up. What they do?
Look what he say. What they say? Black Americans
all
in
that.
Africa. Boy.
Hey, what Frank said, this is the problem.
That's the problem.
This is the problem.
Hey, no matter what you tell, that just was funny. You already know
Frank
what that
said,
is.
hey, this is the problem.
This is the problem. He ain't lying though. He keep taking this elementary approach to history, bro. And it's really at this point, knowing that we got the ability to be able to search on our own is really ridiculous, bro. It's really ridiculous. I can't lie. Hey, but
that was funny at the end though.
Nah, that was hilarious.
All that we said, and homeboy, even the dude coming from over, and that probably, buddy, I don't know if you is from out of Africa saying that, but if you from America saying that, and you heard a person from over there saying to you that we ain't trying to do what you're trying to do, it's like you going out on a date with a chick that don't like you.
Yeah, and you steady trying to keep going on both dates. Like you read the room, my boy.
What are you doing?
Man, sounds ridiculous, you know. Hey, all we can do is, give you an autonomous point of view and research, and what you do with that, that's on you.
Yeah, we try to get on code, get on page. There's no discrimination. Delineation does not need to be in this day and time, even for those who understand their foundational heritage tied to when the United States of America was started and the things that negatively took place in being us lumped into colored categories and called different terms by the system over time. But even that's funny enough that you got to accept the fact in your ethnogenesis that the system that your heritage is tied to changed names over time. You know what I mean? But you have to do your own genealogy, like how them Africans saying, hey, you gonna call us Nigerian, but in my tribal situation, we don't like them other tribal people over there, even though we might all be called Nigerian based off how you think about us. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be, delineation has to be done with critical thinking. You can't do critical thinking if you're just thinking race, like how all these people are trying to do it. That Pan-African shit, like you said, was dead. That's the problem. Just like the red race thing, the American Indians know they all ain't on the same page, but what got them on the same page is that Title 25. So y'all need to get we on code system to be on page about how we delineate in the terms that we know our heritage go to before 1800s and 1700s, etc., of a race theory being in place that most of our people have been indoctrinated in from the time frame of when it got put in place, setting up institutions and certain things in our country that we have to take accountability for in order for us to understand what position we in today based off of the code system of what they call us today as a race. You heard? But that's a whole nother conversation though. But I appreciate y'all tapping in though. We see y'all next week. It's our last joint for the 25 based off the fifth scale commercial understanding of it.
Hold on, what day, when we taking a break?
After the 21st, winter solstice.
So next week will be the last show of the year. That's a commercial year.
Commercial year, yeah, on a commercial level.
We
out of here on the 21st, and then we see you on the 4th. Yeah. So it's just one Sunday off. That's all it is. For everybody that's traveling and which y'all might be doing your festivities, you know what I mean, taking in the lights or lighting up the dark or dealing with whatever you got going on with your family traditional things that you do with amongst your indigenous self, native black situations in America. Or if you're watching this from somewhere else, tap in and do your thing. We'll see you in the new year. Shout out to the party. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. You heard, Monte? Appreciate you. You heard? Homeboy with the news.
We out of here.
Next week. Peace.
Find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't let them be called an aborigine.
They set my stories in a file, a barcode born to reconcile. But when I breathe, I feel the flame of every soul that wore my name.
They test my blood but not my song. They name me right but spell me wrong. Every drop still testifies we survived what couldn't die.
We remember the hands that pray, yeah. We remember the price they paid. We remember the light, the climb, 'cause the blood remembers time. We remember who we are.
No code, no lamb, no star.
Measure who we are. From the field to the skyline, from the roots to the divine. We remember our name, 'cause the blood remembers time. Testifying our glory.
They say I'm part of this and that, but who recorded where I'm at? I'm every hymn my people sang before this nation knew our name.
We remember the songs they wrote. We remember the words they spoke.
We remember the old and young. I was born with a name and a soul, but the paper said I fit a different role. Stamped and filed in a system so cold. They never asked me, they just told. They call me person, but that ain't who I am. I come from people, from spirit, from land. It's more than a label, it's how they divide. But I know the truth deep down inside. People got power, people got pain. Persons of paper caught up in the game. Don't box me in, don't steal my name. I'm not just a number, I'm not their shame. People rise up, speak what you know. You're not a person, you're a soul that glows. Some say it's just words, don't make it deep. But names are spells and the cuts run deep. How they define you, how they bind you. But truth don't sleep, it'll find you. All this legal fiction, built on omission. They rewrote the books and hid opposition. But we're not words, we're not just names. We're breathing proof they can't contain. People got power, people got pain. Persons are paper caught up in the game. Don't box me in, don't steal my name. I'm not just a number, I'm not their shame. People rise up, speak what you know. You're not a person, you're a soul that glows. No barcode, no chain, no check in the file. I'm walking with grace, I'm walking with style. I'm not a thing in a courtroom slide. I'm the people and I won't be denied.
I go through your pictures in my phone. And sometimes you get me through the day. And whenever I start to feel alone, I just play a voice loud. That I say before things change. Now I read the message you sent, trying to tune out when you say I know you love me, but if you just forget about
Black leaves in the Mississippi River. Black leaves in the Mississippi fire. Black leaves in the Mississippi choir. Black leaves on the Mississippi land. And we've got God and cotton. We've got sons and daughters. We've got grit and glory. We've got mother stories. We've got strength like towers. We've got hope and power.
God made woman with an iron hand, raise her up on heaven's land. God made woman with an iron hand, raise her up on heaven's land.
Strength like towers, we got hope and power.
God made woman with an iron hand, raise her up on heaven's land.
send a video to your brothers.
You're a leader, superior, protector, provider, a supreme being with that true light up inside you. Gonna shine it. You're successful. You have courage, the mightiest of warriors. Wise, brave, no struggle can stop you. You the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and 4. Don't let them tell you any different. All my brothers, you should know. You the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and 4. Don't let them tell you any different. All my brothers, you should know.